Hi guys, it's me again, Reyna. So this is the continuation of my topic about abuse and violence. So in this video, I will be discussing about the disorders associated with abuse and violence such as post-traumatic stress disorder and dissociative disorders. Post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. It happens when some memory of a past traumatic event like war, sexual assault causes recurrent mental and physical distress. Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health 5th edition or the BSN-III categorizes PTSD as trauma and stressors related that happens when symptoms of an acute stress response persist over a month. The main symptoms are psychological ones. For example, someone re-experienced trauma through nightmares, flashbacks, and intrusive thoughts. But this can also lead to behavioral changes as well, that someone avoids certain environment and situations that reminds them of their trauma and sense of hypervigilant where they're constantly on guard, or hyperarousal when this exaggerated startle to trigger them. Not surprisingly, all these thoughts and behavior can lead to trouble sleeping and general irritability, which can lead to angry outbursts. Next is biological factors. For example, dysfunction in hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Next is deficits in arousals and stress regulating systems. Then problems with endogenous opioid system, which can help with pain control, have all been shown to be higher risk in developing post-traumatic stress disorder. Treatment of PTSD can be kind of complicated since people with disorder often reluctant to engage in any way in their thoughts, emotions, and conversations, which can make treatment really hard. Research has shown treatment to PTSD such as exposure therapy, group therapy, and medications. Exposure therapy, which slowly exposes individuals to situations that you recall the trauma and can be very effective. Next is group therapy. It is also a popular choice for people with PTSD because it provides survivors with a safe place and relieve their trauma in a supportive environment. In terms of medications, antidepressants, particularly selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors or SSRIs, can help reduce depressive symptoms that often accompany with post-traumatic stress disorder and can help minimize flashbacks and nightmares. Next is anti-anxiety medications. It can also help heighten psychological arousal, often seen people with PTSD. Next is sleep aids can be helpful because lack of sleep and restlessness is such a serious problem with PTSD. Dissociative disorders. Dissociation is subconscious defense mechanism used to protect emotional self from recognizing full impact of some horrific or traumatic event by allowing mind to forget or remove itself from painful situation or memory. The occurrence is both during and after the event that is easier with repeated use. So, dissociative disorders is disruption in usually integrated function of consciousness, memory, identity, and environmental perception. There are 4 types of dissociative disorders. So first is dissociative amnesia. So the client cannot remember important personal information, so usually of a traumatic or stressful nature. The second one is dissociative fugue. The client has episode of suddenly leaving the home or place of work without any explanation, traveling to another city, and being unable to remember his or her past or identity. he or she may assume a new identity. The third one is dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder. So the client displays two or more distinct identities or personality states that recurrently take control of his or her behavior. So this is accompanied by an inability to recall important personal information. Then the fourth one is this depersonalization disorder, or the client has a persistent or recurrent feeling of being detached from his or her mental processes or body. This is accompanied by intact reality testing, that is, the client is not psychotic or out of touch with reality. Major symptoms of dissociative identity disorder. So, presence of two or more distinct identities or personality states. At least two identities, recurrent taking control of the person's behavior, and also inability to recall important personal information, more extensive than ordinary forgetfulness, then symptoms not related to any abuse or medical condition. Treatment: psychotherapy to process the trauma safely. In cases of dissociative identity disorder, psychotherapy facilitates fusion of identities where personality states integrated and the person feels more whole. And that's all for my topic about abuse and violence. So don't forget to share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.